Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullah. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi şrahli sadri ve yessirli emri ve hlul ukdeten min lisani yefkahu kavli ve cealli veziran min ehli Harun ahi iştud bihi ezri ve eşriku fi emri key nusebbihake kethira ve nezkurake kethira inneke kunte bina basira. Allahümme allimna ma yenfa'una ve enfa'na bima allamtana ve zidna ilma ve erinel hakka hakkan ve rzuqna ittiba'ah ve erinel batila batilan ve rzuqna ijtinabah. La havle ve la kuvvete illa billahil aliyyil azim. Ve sallillahumma ala Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve ashabihi ve etba'ihi ve sellem. Velhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullah. We have been studying the story of the Prophet Solomon in the Quran. So we are trying to understand how this story can be related to our practical life now. We mentioned two things, two different aspects of the stories of the Quran, stories of the prophets in the Quran. Last week, we said from one aspect, every prophet represents one major type of human life. From another aspect, every prophet was given different miracles, and these miracles need to be understood in a general way. What do I mean by in a general way? Not something to do with this particular prophet, but it is related to their mission. So we can transfer these miracles into our life, which doesn't mean that we are expected to do the same miracles, perform the same miracles, and ask Allah, God to give us the opportunity to present the miracles in our life as well. But these miracles are somehow means of conveying their message. And also we can understand that from these miracles, most of the miracles, if they are not told or narrated to us in an exaggerated way, we can understand that these miracles are the heralds, the good news that human race, human beings can work on the order of the universe and try to see if it is possible to do something as hinted in the narrations of the miracles. This is very important. There are many examples of it. For example, for the Prophet Sulaiman, we will see that he, for example, flew in the air, which means the air, the atmosphere was subjugated to him, to his mission. So we will study that so we can understand that, it may be possible to fly in the air, which is already prepared within the order of the universe, but Prophet Sulaiman was given as a miracle. But human beings can understand that there may be a way of flying in the air and try to find it out. Noah, the ship, for example. So the ship is nowadays very much sophisticated way of, especially this submarines, and the military submarines are, as I hear or see the videos about them, so sophisticated. It means they are all passable. And for example, David made armor out of iron, with iron, in a miraculous way. God taught them, but it's a hint that we can make lots of things to defend ourselves from danger out of iron. These kind of interpretations are possible, but at the same time, miraculous nature of these events are given to the prophets without their effort to understand. But at the same time, there is a hint to us nowadays that these miracles are narrated in the Quran in order to give us a hint that you may find out there are ways of doing it by discovering the order of the universe, how the things are created. You can also find out, not exactly the same way, but somehow these are, some scholars say, these are the guidance to human beings that these kind of things are possible. That is what we do. For example, let's say we can, there are narrations from the life of the Prophet Muhammad, and there are narrations from the life of Jesus, the Prophet Jesus, Isa. For example, Isa, the Prophet Isa cured certain diseases that time they were not possible to be. They were not possible to be known by human beings, but he was given as a miracle. But we understand now that we can search in the order of the universe and find out the means of doing this kind of things. These are the guidelines. If we understand it, these are the guidelines. These are possible things. We shouldn't confuse that the Quran doesn't mention that the Prophet, for example, Solomon was given some miracles, for example, employing the jinn and being subjugated the atmosphere for him to travel faster than the known way of travel. It is not only for this purpose. No, to prove that the miracles, it is very important to understand, this is a very crucial point, to understand that the Quran mentions miracles of the prophets in order to demonstrate that what they claimed to be employed by the creator of the universe is approved by the creator of the universe by changing the order of the universe, because we all know that no one can change the order of the universe other than the one who has set it up, who has established it. So it's a kind of hint to the people around the prophets that they need to be given some signs that this person is really employed by the creator of the universe as he claims to be. This is very important to understand why the miracles are necessary for the prophets, employed messengers of God. Otherwise, we all know that if a person says, I am inspired by God or revealed by some message from God, no one will believe in them. They will say it is a kind of hysterical, not historical, hysterical. It means hallucinations type of things. Maybe this man is just really seeing himself in a dream or imagining something. Because for a person to take the claim of if a person saying that I am inspired by God or revealed some messages by God, it is almost impossible. But after the revelation, especially revelation of the teachings of Moses, teachings of Jesus, teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon all of them, so we can now study the message they convey to us and try to prove by the evidence of the universe, as the universe is created by a one who is also revealing this message to the messengers of the prophet. Now we can confirm it. We don't need miracles now, but we need the miraculous content of the message. The message must be consistent, must be perfect, and message must really convince us under the signs of the universe, signs of human feelings as well. But some extra in the Quran, that eloquence of the rhetoric of the Quran is an extra miracle. These are not subjects, but of course, as an introduction to the lives of the prophets mentioned in the Quran, we have to remember all these fundamental basics. Now, let's come to the position of the Prophet Suleiman. Prophet Suleiman is known as a prophet who has inherited kingdom from his father, David. All right. And he is presented in the Quran as signifying the mission of being the king. Okay, let's talk together now. The Prophet Suleiman was a king. Man, I say, I am not a king. Sorry, I have nothing to do with this example. I am not a king. So what shall I do with this story? He employed animals, a jinn in his army, huge army. He was so rich, etc. I am not rich. I don't know about the jinns, and I cannot really employ the jinns and animals. And he was taught the language of the animals. I don't know, and what shall I do with it? Kingdom. Now, how do you think we can relate? Come on, please share your understandings. How do you think we can relate this kingdom and having all these opportunities? Because we know that the lives of the prophet presented in the Quran to us, all kinds of aspects of our real life experiences. For example, Solomon was very rich, so much that he was also asking so many wealth that, please God, give me so much that no one will after me have this kind of property, wealth, or kingdom. On the other hand, for example, if you look at the prophet Job, he was completely deprived of everything. No family, no wealth, no health, nothing. Completely zero in the world, as far as the world life is concerned. Both of them are prophets. We should make sense of these cases. That what does it mean? One may be very rich, one may be extremely poor. They can find the examples in the lives of the prophets mentioned, narrated in the Quran. What did the prophet Job? What did the prophet Solomon? That's what we are going to concentrate on, the part of Solomon now. Suleiman or Solomon, they say in English, Solomon, doesn't matter really. We know what we are talking about and who we are talking about. So what do you think this kingdom can be related to my real life conditions? I think you can, because the question really infers the answer in it. You can just say something, whatever comes to your mind, so that we will communicate and make some sort of benefit out of it. What do you think? You are not a king, so what? You don't know the language of animals. Well, I don't know, what should I do? And I cannot really employ jinns. No, I'm not really extremely filthy rich, wealthy. So what shall I do? Any idea? Come on, go ahead, say something. Come on, you don't have to raise hand. Just unmute yourself and speak. No clue at all. So we are the students of the Quran. But when you read all these stories about the prophets, and especially now we're talking about the Solomon. Okay, Suhail, go ahead. Thank you. Go.
Assalamu alaikum. At least what I take away personally from it is that, let's say wealth aspect of it, in that whether one is wealthy or not, or one has material goods or money or not, it does not take away from what somebody has to say or the truth, or whether something is makes sense from a human perspective. And also that, whatever one has is that regardless of whether I believe or not, I don't determine what I have. It's given or bestowed. So two people can both be prophets. One can be given and one can be not. But that's not up to me to determine that. I only have to ask. That's my responsibility. Whether asking in the form of, prayer, let's say I call out. Also, in another form of prayer, maybe actually making use of the order, making use of the creation, as they do, in order to, I don't want to say accumulate, but take or receive the bestowal from the creator through the use of the creation, through the use of the earth or the environment. So I guess those are two things I take away. One, the truth doesn't necessarily, what somebody has to say does not necessarily mean materially they have something or don't have something. It's not this sort of common idea, especially now pervasive today, in that if somehow you are a good person and you're a righteous person, then by default you should be bestowed by God, that he only bestows to those who are, you know, quote unquote righteous. And I'm talking materially speaking, that is. Um, so that's one thing I took away. And another thing that I take away from that is that, at least from the perspective of Sulaiman, alayhi salam, that the world is sort of my kingdom. Um, you know, as much as I see it, you know, plants, animals, things I see or don't see, perceive or don't perceive. And it's my responsibility, having been bestowed that, to take proper care of those things, because they don't belong to me. I'm simply just given the permission to use those things. Um, and they can help me as I navigate through this world, but they're not my property. I've only been given, and I'm given, and I can only ask for to use those things. So those are just some few thoughts I took away.
Don't go away. Okay, Sadia, I may be mispronouncing it. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. Keep your hand up, please. Keep your hand up, so that I shouldn't forget. Yeah. Yes. That's it. Stay there. As an extension to what you said, we will study in the life of the it means law. Inheritance is halal. It means right. Although you didn't work for it, but it is just left by your parents or someone else in the family. So you got it. It is a sign that wealth is just assigned by God. That's a good point, as an extension to what Suhail, our friend Suhail, said. Now we will work on other aspects as well. So knowing the language of the plants and being a king position as well. So without really delaying Sadias, I'm very anxious about what our friends will say. So I will cut it short here. Okay, Sadia, please go ahead. I'm just muting myself.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Saida's daughter, Fariha. I just wanted to give like a practical example to your initial query about what can be my kingdom. So what comes to my mind is pretty much anything that I own here in this universe. So could be like from material aspect, like my wardrobe, my shoe collection, or any kind of wealth or property, or pretty much when we talk about kingdom, I mean, that could be it. Yes, I'm not a king, literally speaking, but there are some things that are under my mini dominion, even I would say time as well, my, you know, like the way I structure my day, things of that nature, maybe. So just wanted to share that.
The phone, the computer, elevators, planes, trains that we take.
There we go.
Yeah, I have the option for all of them.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for sharing.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. As an extension, again, as an extension. For example, a mother is the queen of the household or king of the household, father as well, or as a director in a company, as an extension to what you said. It was excellent, excellent point. So what we are going to do, we are going to take, in any case, when you may be the king of your shoes collections, I don't think you have the shoes collections, but lots of people have it, but I don't think our friends here, they are mad about it. I know that I had some experiences in my life. people have 20, 30 pairs of shoes. Really, I've seen them. Yeah. They're all kinds of colors or matching their handbag and I don't know, even their makeup. The different colors. So anyways, these are the people, what they are doing it, they may have this kingdom over them. It is fair. And also you may have a kingdom over your house, but at the same time, in social context, the social life context, you may be, for example, in an administrative position or elder brother or elder sister, you may be really administering your younger siblings. So these are all extensions of this example, practical example to us. If you want to say something more, please go ahead, your hands up. Still, would you like to add something? I think it was very helpful, wasn't it? Yep, your hand is up. Okay, no more. Let me see what is going on in the chat box. Okay, Asha. Oh, Asha Nur. I see. Can you hear now?
Yes, that was a while ago.
A while. Okay, Asha Nur, you can express yourself. I think you know some English better than I do. So go ahead.
Sure. I didn't want to interrupt others as they were speaking, but wanted to get the thoughts out. I was just thinking in terms of the question of how do I make sense of Sulaiman alayhi salam in terms of my own life, and as you said, one aspect is that I can't literally speak with animals, but one way that I can try to make that relevant for myself is that everything in creation, not just animals, but if we focus on animals as well or other living beings, they are still imparting a type of speech onto me that may not be the sort of English language that I speak or, in the tongue in the literal sense, but a type of speech to me that is full of meaning, that reflects the qualities that they carry, that they demonstrate through their way of being, through their living. Just a bird in how it flies speaks to me and brings meaning. A cat in how it meows or in how it sleeps on the ground through its cuteness imparts meaning to me. And I'm able to, without effort, have a very personal relationship with everything, and especially animals, I would say, that makes me acquainted with qualities of mercy and beauty and design and resilience, and so in that sense, I guess the prophetic way would be to be able to open myself to hearing their speech. The speech is there, but I have to open myself to being willing to listen to that and see how their speech relates me to their creator, to their source of existence. That's what I wanted to say.
Excellent. All of the friends here spoken or written in the chat box are excellent points. I don't want to say anything that there is something wrong, but we may extend our thinking, our way of thinking. As you said, I really loved this expression. Actually, you used. They may not speak to you, but I can make them speak to me. Yeah, I can make them speak to me. It means discover their meaning and try to understand which kind of message they are transferring to me, to my understanding, to my capacity of intelligence, consciousness, so that I will benefit from their speech in order to make my life more meaningful and try to understand what the universe conveys, which kind of message the universe conveys to me So this is an excellent opportunity for us that we can do in our practical lives. So I shouldn't speak a lot. So Ziba, please go ahead. I'm just muting myself.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ali. Yeah, I was thinking about when you were mentioning Sulaiman alayhi salam having the milkiya and also being able to speak to the birds and animals. So when I see myself, I have the ayat that come to me regarding this is that the ayat fil anfus wal fil afaq. So those ayat which speak to me, like I own my body and each and every part of my body has been given a ability and some power to conduct itself. And how, if I can use those abilities to go beyond my creation, like who is my creator, who gave me this ability to talk, my tongue is under my command, and how is it talking? You know, it's not me who is doing it, who gave it this power. So this is my milkiya, as Sulaiman alayhi salam had his milkiya. And then we see outside afaq is all the each and everything that's a creation of Allah, how it speaks about the creator, like how does it take me to the creator? Like it was not created on its own. So there's a creator behind it. And when I interact with myself, my body inside and outside with these ayat, and if it takes me to my Rabb, then I think those ayat are meaningful and then they are conveying the correct message. That's how I can relate to Sulaiman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It is beautiful, mashallah. You see, you have to speak. You have to express yourself. And we have to really help each other to expand our understanding of the Quran. So just sit there and listen only, you have to participate and become a part of this discussion. So what we also notice as another aspect of it, we should bear in mind that in the Quran, Solomon is presented to us as a person who is wealthy and whose army is extremely powerful. The most powerful army known at his time really subjugated themselves to him. It means beyond imagination at the time that that the narration took place. It means we don't know where Solomon was, but they can just guess that it was around somewhere nowadays Yemen, or there was another tribe there. Sheba, Queen of Sheba is famous. So whatever the tribe is, but they say somewhere is in the southern part of Arabian Peninsula. Doesn't matter really. It could have been in North Pole. We don't care. Because the place is not important, the narration is important. They were also rich. They had also a very powerful army. But this is what it struck my attention a lot. And I would like to share this with you because I'm very excited about it. Although in the course of our study of the life of the Prophet Solomon, we will touch upon it, of course, as the related verses present that part of the life of the Prophet Solomon. So we will mention that and emphasize and go maybe in a deeper sense. From now, we have to prepare our minds that I said it is better to have a very extended introduction to the subject so that we will know what we are going to expect from these narrations of the stories. Have you noticed that in the narrations of the life of Solomon in the Quran, there was no war? Have you noticed that? Or am I wrong? As far as I understood from the narrations, he didn't have any war with any other people. Queen Sheba didn't have a war. Just she came, visited him, and experienced his castle, if you like, and submitted to the Lord of the universe, Rabbul Alameen, together with Suleiman. Isn't that interesting? There is no war. There was no war. Although he was so powerful, he was so wealthy, and his army was so huge, but he didn't fight with anyone. This is interesting. Bear in mind, and as we go further, inshallah, we will now start. If there is no more comment, is there? Let me see. No hands up. If anybody wants to add anything more, please don't hesitate. You can interrupt me anytime you like. So let's go. Okay, here. Naba, chapter 21, Qasas, if I'm not mistaken, and verse 79. We gave Solomon insight into the case and bore witness to their judgment. So, hukman wa ilman, wa atayna hukman wa ilman. So, I think most of you understand hukum and ilm. So, bore witness to the judgment, hukum, to give judgment. We bestowed on both of them wisdom and knowledge. Both of them means together with Dawood. Actually, مع داود الجبال يسبحنا والطير وكنا فاعلين. So we bestowed on both of them wisdom and knowledge and caused the mountains and the birds to join with David in our praise. So all this we did. So we know that Dawood's psalms, songs of praise, are very famous, especially in Torah narration. In Psalms, the songs of Solomon, songs of David are very famous. And if you read the Psalms, which is most of the people say that Psalms represent Zabur in the Quran, but some people expand the meaning of Zabur to every ancient divine revelation. It means scriptures, ancient scrolls. Some scholars say it is not only limited to David's songs or Solomon's songs, but if you read them in Torah collection, of course, it is one section, you will realize that really they are praising God without much confusion. I found Psalms are so amazing. It's very interesting. Although other parts of Torah narrations are mixed with historical narrations as well, that is not my specialty, just general idea. But Psalms, when you read it, you will definitely come to the conclusion that this is a revelation from God, the creator of the universe. I felt that. So in my practical life experience, I had some Christian neighbors, and I was reading them from Psalms and explaining them as far as I know, I learned from the Quran, they all agreed. That was amazing experience for me. And they confirmed their belief in one God. Although they were Christians, and some of them might have heard many, many things about Trinity in their church experiences, in the church sermons. But when you read the Psalms, we, as far as my experience tells me, somebody's mic is open, I think. Let me see. Yeah, Hatice Beyza, I think your mic. All right. Mumina also. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. If you have a Christian friend, never fight with them. To me, my experience is never fight with them. Just ask them, let's read from the Psalms. You will see it. Of course, if someone says, no, I don't believe in Old Testament, maybe some very few of them don't take Old Testament seriously, which is Torah, Hebrew Bible, but they take it, the New Bible, okay, this New Testament. All right. Canonical ones are, you have to be careful, but there are some Bible narrations. So you can choose from not the canonical Bibles, four Bibles, which are known and used by the church nowadays. But there is called the quails. I don't know the quails in French, I think. If you search them, or the other Bibles, not only the canonical ones, the other Bibles, you will see other Bibles which are much, much more concentrating on oneness of God, as especially choose the ones who which contains the sayings of Jesus narrated in them. Yeah, and then you will understand that these sayings of Jesus really conveys the truth that, although it is translation, but anyways, better than nothing. Be careful. They are concentrating mostly on, as we know it, Tawheed, oneness of God. So you can have some sort of bridge, positive conversation with your Christian friends. Now, that is what this verse mentions about the Solomon and David, his parent, his father. They were both bestowed some wisdom and knowledge, and also something added here, wisdom and knowledge, be careful, and caused the mountains and the birds to join with David in our praise, in order to praise God. That is what we did, the Quran says. So don't you think that we can also have the company or companionship of mountains and birds to join us in our praises. Isn't that possible for us as well? Can you not do it? Because unfortunately, we don't really study the Quran. As a community, I'm talking about Ummah, the community of Muslims. The majority of the people don't study the Quran. That is my very sore feeling, actually. This is very hurting to me. We study everything. We argue about the minute things, but we don't study the Quran. Or, for example, everybody talks about you prayed in this way, I prayed in another way. This is not correct. This is not correct. You pronounce this word like this, but in fact, it should be pronounced in another way or in a better way. Also, we study, like crazy, tajweed. Of course we should do, but we have to be careful. We have to be careful while we are concentrating on these subjects. We have to, studying fiqh, studying tajweed, studying the pronunciations of the letters of Arabic letters in the Quran, etc. These are important, but what is more important, what message we get from the Quran. Unfortunately, we don't really concentrate on it. We concentrate on your pronunciation was not really appropriate pronunciation a lot, but the meaning of the message of the Quran, not much. It's not very common. Those people study the Quran, they concentrate on the language side of it, the grammar side of it, historical background side of it, and fiqh rulings in order to drive fiqh rulings, what the Quran mentions about inheritance law and, marriage and divorce principles, war conditions, but not belief side, which makes the majority part of the verses of the Quran, not much belief side. Why? Because to my understanding, you can really explain your experience, your understanding. I would love to listen to you. We reduced belief in one God at a very simple level, not very much satisfactory. Why? Because the Quran presents Tawheed in such a simplest way, not complicated at all, easy to understand. But of course, to get the deeper level of understanding of Tawheed needs real studies. But to say that this universe must have a creator, come on, and none of the parts of this universe can be the creator of anything. I don't see anything. Everything is subject to the order. So how can I explain the existence of the universe? There must be one God. And what we do that is correct. But what we do by saying this, we put 97% of the teachings of the Quran aside. Why? Because I'm done with Tawhid. I'm absolutely satisfied that God exists. There must be a God. And I am absolutely satisfied that God is beyond this universe. That's what they say, although it's a wrong expression, but beyond this universe. So I cannot think of God. Forget about it as if. How about God's presence in our life? How can I really relate my senses, my life experiences to God? How can I really relate my experience with the universe? That is what David and Solomon were accompanying in their prayers, in their hymns, in their praise of God. The mountains, birds, these are the simple examples. It doesn't mean that they didn't include in their prayer the plants or the atmosphere or the stars. The Quran is full of examples of stars. Quran is full of examples of sky and everything in the sky, praising God, glorifying God. And we can accompany them in our praise of God. But unfortunately, I'm very sad about it actually. Unfortunately, because of the simplicity of Tawheed in the teachings of the Quran, we don't take it seriously, and we don't need to do more exploration into it and try to understand the message of the Quran, speaking about how we can live in the presence of God, how we can live as communicate our life with God all the time and see that I am just living together with God in front of him right now. We don't study that because we believe in God. After believing in God, we concentrate on our belief in God and look for the practical side of Islam. How can I worship God as it is described in fiqh books, if you like? For example, how do I pray? How do I fast? How do I give zakat? And how do I perform my hajj? These kind of things prevail my mind. And how about the Quran keeps mentioning about all the parts of the universe, starting from ants, starting from flies, insects, and the moon and the sun and the trees. Incredible, the ankebut, for example, spider. Look at the spider. Some people get really irritated by it, but the Quran says spider is a witness to God. And you can take the spider into your praise and do your praising God together. How? Because of the way the spider is created, the ants are created, flies are created, elephant is created. Then there are other plants, olives and figs. Now I don't remember. There are many others, 20-something, 27 or something, if I'm not mistaken, sections of the Quran named after created beings out there. The objects of this universe, 27 of them are named after them. So while we are reading these sections, we have to keep in mind them. So which kind of praising they are doing so that we can accompany them in our praising. Because when we believe in God, we think matter is not important. Of course, matter is not important. But in order to communicate with the Creator, we have nothing else but matter. We forget about this aspect of reality of this kind of existence. We have nothing. Even when we look at the Quran and describing the hell, describing paradise, all the descriptive elements are employed. There are material things, fruits, and I don't know, beautiful castles and rivers and beautiful women, beautiful men, or handsome men for women. It means huris, they are called. So they are all described in material terms. Nothing hypothetical. We have to appreciate the creation, because this universe is the only material evidence, sign, as Sister mentioned, within my feelings and outside of me, as I see in the universe. Everything created in the universe, as the Quran says, kullu shay'in, every single being glorifies God, praises God. Every single being. There is no exception. This is very important. In the Quran says, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. There is nothing at all in the universe but only praises God with, or glorifies God with praise. إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. It is really, they have no duty at all but glorifying God with praise. What does it mean? We see that animals are useful. We use dogs to guide us, to protect us from danger, and also for the shepherds, it's very important to have this. The cats are important. They help us to keep our life clean from these insects and other bugs. Yeah, we use them there, but the Quran doesn't say so. The horses are, for some time, horses and camels were transportation means. They were the buses, they were the I don't know, donkeys, and for example, they were the transportations, cars, or whatever they are. So, but the Quran says, no. Yes, you utilize them, but mainly they glorify God with praise. So we should accompany them. I had a very, well, there is something in the chat box. Let me read this. Okay. No, a woman also can read it herself, but there is an issue going on in Bangladesh, steaming from a Hindu temple alleged disrespecting Quran, which made Muslims angry. Yeah, there's always some issues, of course. After some feuds, violence erupted. So the sad thing is we show passion about Quran, yet we pay little attention to it. No, we are studying the Quran now. Now, that is our specialty. There are hundreds of thousands of news and videos. So everybody must have a specialty. That's our specialty. We don't ignore it, but in our 1 hour discussion in a week, if we talk about the events happening in the Muslim world, every week we have another one, and then we cannot really study the Quran. Thank you for, of course, bringing it to our attention, but unfortunately, there are many things going on in the world, so everybody must be concentrating on their specialty.
Can you hear me? Dr. Ali, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
So like this issue happened recently. Like you are saying like how we take it for granted, we take one for granted, and like we simplify too much, and we don't contemplate on the Quran. So I was like saying that. So then, like when you said it, it reminded me of this thing. That's why I shared. Yeah.
Well, I mean, thank you for bringing it to our attention. But at the same time, let's utilize this 1 hour to study the message of the Quran, especially the difficult one to understand the prophetic examples mentioned in the Quran. We read them as stories. So this is also very essential. There are lots of people who can talk about and how to help these people, Muslims here and there, but not many. Not many. There are, but not many, not as much, studying the meaning of the message in the stories. But there may be some people who are concentrating on the story itself, but we have to concentrate on the meaning of the message. That is very rare. So that's why we have to concentrate on this subject primarily within this 1 hour a week. Amen. So inshallah, you understand, and we understand that we have to be concerned with these things, not within this 1 hour, inshallah. So we don't pay attention to the creation and make our tasbihat, if you like, when we say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This kind of phrases are very frequently mentioned in the Quran. So while we are doing all this, we can utilize the witnessing of the created beings out there as David did, especially the story of David as he was praising God, the mountains echoed. What does it mean? Joined his prayers. So as the Solomon was loving his horses and speaking to the birds and knowing their language, we can learn their language, not in order to communicate with them verbally, but the language of their praising. How an ant praises God. It functions as a sign. How? So I can say, looking at an ant and saying, Subhanallah, glory be to God, and all praise due to God. Alhamdulillah. Who can create an ant in the world? So we can really benefit from the way they are created. And I didn't mean to bring politics. No, it's not only politics, Mumina. It is the reality of the Muslim world. Unfortunately, ignorance is everywhere. They are really manipulated by politicians. But who is suffering? Not the politicians, the innocent Muslims, innocent believers. But now in this section, we mostly concentrate on studying the Quran for 1 hour only. No, you did it right, but at the same time, you understand that we don't mention this kind of things during this study. For example, if you are taking a class in, let's say, algorithm, do you expect the professor to speak about what is going on in Bangladesh, for example? I mean, this is the class for mathematics or whatever you are studying. Yeah, calculus 2, for example. So you have to concentrate on the subject. You cannot talk about what is happening in some parts of the world while the subject is calculus. So that is what we have to do it. So I think we understand that we also should bring the creatures into our praises, glorifications. We have to make them accompany. Mountains, it means mountains in the mind of the prophet David were proclaiming the same things as he was pronouncing. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah. But when the meaning in their creation also say, God is the one only deserves to be praised, deserves to be glorified. Why? Because you cannot explain the existence of mountains and the existence of the plants, animals on the mountains, only except that you attribute them to the creator of the whole universe. So while we are saying Allahu Akbar, God is great, we have to bear in mind the signs that we studied in the mountains, we studied in the birds. This is why the Quran mentions about this. We cannot say that, oh, you know what? David was a great man. The prophet. Why? When he was making his own praises, mountains also joined them. Mountains echoed with him. So what is it to do with me? Nothing. That is why we have to be careful how to read the Quran. We have to mention this very frequently. The narrations about the lives of the prophets in the Quran is for me right now to practice it in my life as it is mentioned in the Quran. Inshallah, you and I understood this, and we will try to really assimilate these messages in the stories into our understanding and make it practical for us, inshallah. So next time when I say Allahu Akbar, I should remember mountains, I should remember clouds, I should remember birds, I should remember stars, and whatever the animals around me. I can see squirrels a lot, birds a lot, all kinds of birds. So we say, look at them, how beautiful, how perfect their creation is. So they are proclaiming that their creator is really a great creator, I would say. God is great, which means Allahu Akbar, together with them. Inshallah, next time. Thank you. We will continue, inshallah, next Wednesday. And also I would like to see you next Saturday, Monday, again, Wednesday. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sorry, the time really 11 minutes. Sorry, please forgive me for exploiting your patience. Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum an alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. بعدد حيوانات الكائنات، بعدد نباتات الكائنات، بعدد ذرات